I wanted to talk about how I have been learning about what it means for me to be emotionally expressive. I just had a pretty significant meltdown the other day, and I recorded it. And I have recorded, I realize now, a lot of my meltdowns. I just didn't know that's what they were when I was having them. I always assumed that my ability to remain cool, calm, and collected was a superpower I had. And when I would play basketball, I felt like my ability to stay, you couldn't tell if I was rattled, was something that allowed me to be more effective, like a better player, a better leader too. And the more I've allowed myself to feel emotions, and the more I've gotten definitions for things that I didn't know I was allowed to claim as my own, the more I've been kind of recognizing what a disadvantage it's been to be so unexpressive on my face. When I had just started to research about autism and I learned about how people don't understand social cues and they are not expressive emotionally, I was like, that doesn't apply to me, because I was on the other end of that spectrum. I was hypervigilant. I watched people's expressions so much so that I could know how to use them, but I kind of just assumed everyone did that. I really truly thought that was a universal experience. And once I started to unmask, I started to realize that the experiences I'm having internally are extreme. And what I posted, it looks like I'm a little bit bothered, but for the most part, it just looks like it looks like I'm unbothered. And that is a straight up, one of the most extreme panic attacks that I can have. I rarely cry. And it took a while for me to learn how to cry. And that actually came through dance. When I would dance to certain music and when my body would be flowing and when I would be breathing, that's when crying would happen. But before that, if I would feel the urge to cry, there's an entire, it's almost like there's an entire group of people inside of me who were interrogating the part of us that wanted to cry. Well, why are we crying? Is it something that we should be crying about? Well, what will that solve? It's gonna hurt our eyes and we're gonna ruin our makeup. It wasn't ever, I didn't ever just have access to crying as a method of release. It was something that I had to justify to be able to do, so I just didn't do it. And when I started to kind of share this stuff with my partner, one of the things that I shared with him at the beginning of this uncovering was that I was in pain all the time. And I was going to doctors, I was trying to figure out what was going on, and at one point it kind of clicked for him. He's like, oh, you are, I can't tell if you are not doing okay. And I told him that, yeah, that felt so big to me that he recognized that, because I didn't realize that either. And so I was like, you have to believe me when I tell you that I'm not doing okay or when something's upsetting me, because I am not going to show that on my face. Often when I'm upset, when I'm sad, that if it's not resolved in a reasonable amount of time, or if I'm confused, it turns into anger. And before this whole past year, when I was really working on regulating my nervous system and finding coping skills that were healthy for me, I mean, anger was what I grew up with. I had two different flavored neurodivergent parents and a very emotional mom. And so I didn't know how much my lack of emoting was preventing others from, I don't know. I feel like it's kind of stupid to speculate about that stuff, but it is something I've been thinking about, and I did want to say it. And I'm going to keep sharing about this stuff. I'm going to keep showing my experiences. And the whole point is that every time I got any piece of information that helped me understand myself better, it's a big deal. And for a long time, I needed to qualify those or I need to make sure they were real. Like the whole experience of deciding to go get an autism diagnosis was like 2 years long of me having imposter syndrome about the whole thing. And I realized later that's my autism being rigid in my thinking and not being able to see that, like, it honestly doesn't matter that I had an autism diagnosis. What mattered is that there was something out there that said that people feel this way and this is what's happening on the inside, and it helped me understand myself better. And so I guess what I'm going to do here is I'm going to give a list of all of the terms that I discovered in my like research in the past 5 years since I've had chronic illness, chronic pain, and like trauma come up in a big way. But before this, I would have never said that I had a traumatic life. And our culture is such that claiming trauma, when people don't know how to do that without feeling like they're not allowed, people don't believe you because people don't believe it about themselves. So I recommend that if you are on a like self-improvement journey and you find a term that seems like it fits for you, don't worry about getting that officially diagnosed. Figure out where you can learn about it from communities of people who are like you. I'm telling you, it saved my life. I borrowed these from another account, Neurospiritual, so I just wanted to have them at the end. Thank you, Neurospiritual.